Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I wanted to go over secrets or like the indirect placeholder word. I'm not even sure how to title this quite yet. Yes, we'll say secrets for now. The secrets to make an avoidant fall in love. They're quite a bit, but I'm going to go over five. And I think that this is important because it's different from the way maybe other individuals fall in love, other attachment styles. And I'm going to go through that pretty quickly, just like the first portion of how other attachment styles fall in love so that you can understand why it's a little bit different for avoidance. So anxious, preoccupied individuals, they tend to fall in love with safety, which every attachment style does. So that one's pretty obvious. But many people who are anxiously attached, what I notice is they fall in love with what they hear as well as the action that's correlated to what they're told. So if somebody says, I'm going to pick you up at 5 p.m., and that person does exactly that, that creates more bonding for an anxious attached style. Yes, that does help with avoidant. And fearful avoidant, to be honest, you're going to need this one and the anxious one typically, and secure as well. But that one is much more strongly for anxious attached. However, with avoidant, it is important, but what we're going to talk about is much more important. And the first one is something I feel is pretty easy as long as you have enough trust to actually do this. And it's bonding through side-by-side interactions and conversations. A lot of avoidants love this. This is something I absolutely love. And this is one of my favorite things to do with my significant other. And we'll give some examples as well, okay? Let's say walking together in the park, like at the park, and going over your day-to-day. So talking about work stress, what happened with this, talking about your stocks, whatever's going on in your day, and you're talking about it while doing something else, like walking at the park. So that's very relaxing and very bonding for avoidance. The next one is discussing work-related topics or whatever topics you want to, and you both seek solutions together, kind of like teamwork. This one is wonderful. This one I really like as well. I think it's very rewarding especially if you guys are both avoidant, it's very rewarding for you guys to build trust and love and memories, actually. And another example is, because it's getting warmer now, is like grilling outside together. This one is pretty relaxing because it's like you're building something together. Maybe you guys can split it up, where one person preps the food, the other person grills the food, and then you guys eat together, right? It's almost like building an activity together. And it feels probably doesn't feel romantic to you guys, but to avoidance, it feels like very safe and comforting, and like it's happy. It's happiness for relationships. For a lot of avoidance, like stuff like that. The next one is emotional safety. A lot of avoidants want to feel like who they are is enough, and that it's safe if they make mistakes. And an example that I know a lot of you guys won't like, but if you want to try it, it will really make a very big difference in your relationship. If you thank them for their honesty. So some avoidants are very honest, some are not. But almost all of them, honesty can be an effort. And it's hard to accept that because some of them might deny this, but most of them I feel this way. And I've worked with many, many, many avoidants. I used to be one. A lot of people in my life are. You guys know my dad and my significant other. My significant other used to be, my dad still is. And not one of them, I feel, would not appreciate this. If you thank them for their honesty, they feel like, okay, their efforts to put the time and the vulnerability to be honest with you, instead of you reacting poorly, you thank them and you understand that it's hard, and that's all they want. It'll help them to be more open with you, and it'll encourage you guys to have a more closer connection in your relationship and just more honesty in general. The next one is that you listen before reacting when they express themselves. If they're saying something that maybe you don't want to hear, it's going to happen. Every relationship, you heard something that your significant other told you that you didn't like. It's going to happen. However, how you react makes a big difference between if they're going to adjust that, if you're going to adjust, or if you guys just have a safe space for one another. Listening before reacting when they express themselves, okay? The next one is built-in space. I've talked about this before, but I think it's very important. I think people don't realize how important it is. If you have a day-to-day relationship where there's not space built in, your significant other is going to be wanting that space. So they're going to be pulling away from you very frequently because they feel suffocated by the relationship. However, if the space is built into the relationship, they have less motivation for actually wanting space because they already know they have it. It's not being taken away. So examples, have days where you're not seeing each other. That sounds obvious, but a lot of couples, they see each other very frequently. Even if you're a secure couple, you guys might see each other many times a week. That's not as common for avoidant couples. It's really not. And so if you have that built-in space, seeing each other a little bit less frequently, they're going to be less likely to cancel. They're going to be less likely to be irritable. They're going to be less likely to pull away. And they're going to be more communicative when you guys are together. And it'll help with the romance and intimacy in the bedroom if that's something that you guys are comfortable doing. The next part of the built-in space is you want to have moments where you're without each other for a long period of time. Now, this doesn't mean like not talking. I'm going to explain it. A good example is like going on a solo trip. That doesn't mean you're going to leave for like a year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying a couple days where you guys have more further proximity from one another so you guys can really appreciate the space that's given and the trust that you guys have when you're not around each other. The trust is more important. It's pretty significant to avoidance that they feel like you can do things independently by yourself and they can do stuff independently. And you guys afterwards can still come together and have a lot of conversation about those trips. And that's really comfortable as well. Just like the first one we talked about, bonding side by side. After a trip, you guys can do something together and have those conversations about what you or your significant other did on a trip. The next one is acknowledging their efforts. So acknowledging efforts is very important, but it's also important what kind of effort you're acknowledging. Because some things that you think, how do I even put it? Some things you won't realize is effort because it's not effort for you. And so honesty was an example I gave earlier, and that's a good one. But you can even acknowledge, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the efforts that you do for our relationship. I appreciate the commitment you put through for us. I appreciate that you make our relationship work. Whatever it is, those acknowledgments are very important. Those are pretty fundamental. But there's another part of acknowledgement that I think a lot of people miss, which is really important. You want to ask for acknowledgement back. And this is going to create that bridge between their affection towards you and your affection towards them. It's going to make the relationship also feel more solid. So let's say, for example, you're anxious, preoccupied, and you tend to crash out when they go on trips. We were just talking about trips. So let's use that as an example. And you're putting effort to not do that. And so you're telling them you're working on it. If you decrease those crash outs, ask for acknowledgement, because what's going to happen is they know how much acknowledgement means to them. And so they want to give you that back. And it's also going to help them to break the negative thoughts they have of you if they're struggling with them. So ask for acknowledgement. By the way, I tried my best during your trip to not be anxious and not need as much reassurance because I wanted you to enjoy. And I just want you to acknowledge that because I think I did a really good job. And it was a lot of effort for me. So I want that praise so I can continue to do that. That will really help, okay? And then adding to their knowledge base is the last one. We've touched on this before, but it's really important. Adding to their knowledge base makes them feel tangibly like you are worth investing, okay? So share your understanding of a certain topic, right? I think I've told you guys this before. I'm not sure if I have. I definitely have on my other channel. I grew up where my parents were more heavily investing in real estate. So I understand real estate investment really well. I didn't understand much about stocks until my significant other taught me more about it. He's in finance, like that's what he does for a living. And so I learned more about finance that I didn't understand, even though I still had a really strong foundation of it because my dad is a businessman. He has plenty of businesses, but still he added to my knowledge base which helped me to feel like tangibly something I already felt pretty confident in, he was able to add to it. So that was really interesting because that just doesn't happen to me very often, where somebody adds to a knowledge base that I feel comfortable with. And I'm not saying that I know everything. Don't take it wrong. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it doesn't happen to a lot of people where you feel pretty good. Let's say you're a really, really good artist, for example. It's going to be interesting that somebody teaches you something new about art because you put so much effort into learning about art. I have known about finances and investments since I was literally born. Like I know almost nothing else. Both my parents are very heavy in investing and they have their own versions of it. They're divorced. And so they do their own version of it. They both have taught me so much. And the fact that he was able to teach me a different angle of it was really interesting. Now, I think I may have had a negative impression of stocks at one point. Something just in college, some people were really dumb about stocks. No offense to anyone who did that. But that's why I never got into it, because in undergrad, so many people were trying it out, not doing it so well. But after undergrad, I learned a little bit more about it. And that was really helpful. He taught me that. And so that helped me. And it's true that a lot of avoidants enjoy building and learning about knowledge. It makes them feel really safe. And interestingly enough, I was able to add his knowledge base about real estate, because that's something he wasn't really like as keen about as I am. So that was where we kind of added knowledge base, other areas as well, but that one was the first one that came off the top of my head. So let's summarize. The first one is bonding through side-by-side interactions. The second one is emotional safety. The third one is built-in space. The fourth one is acknowledgement. And the fifth one is adding to their knowledge base. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.